Hi, my name's Adam, and I work at UKG. Today, I'm here to read one of my favorite holiday books, The Polar Express. The Polar Express, written and illustrated by Chris Van Allsburg. On Christmas Eve many years ago, I lay quietly in my bed. I did not rustle the sheets. I breathed slowly and silently. I was listening for a sound of a friend had told me I would never hear. The ringing bells of Santa's sleigh. There's no Santa, my friend had insisted, but I knew he was wrong. Late that night, I did hear sounds, although it was not of ringing bells. From outside came the sounds of hissing steam, squeaking metal, and I looked through my window and I saw a train standing perfectly still in front of my house. What would you do if you saw a train sitting in front of your house? Yikes. It was wrapped in an apron of steam. Snowflakes fell lightly around. A conductor stood at the open door of one of the cars. He took a large pocket watch from his vest, then looked up at my window. I put on my slippers and robe, and I tiptoed downstairs and out the door. "All aboard!" the conductor cried out. I ran up to him. "Well," he said, "are you coming?" "Where?" I asked. "Why, the North Pole, of course," was his answer. "This is the Polar Express." I took his outreached hand and he pulled me aboard. That is a mighty train. The train was filled with other children, all of their pajamas and nightgowns. We sang Christmas carols and we ate candies with nougat centers that were as white as snow. We drank hot cocoa as thick and rich as melted chocolate bars. Outside, the lights of the town and villages flickered in the distance as the Polar Express raced northward. I'd like some hot cocoa right now. Soon there were no more lights to be seen. We traveled through the cold, dark forests where lean wolves roamed and the white-tailed rabbits hid from their train as it thundered through the quiet wilderness. We climbed the mountain so high it seemed as if we would scrape the moon. But the Polar Express, it never slowed down. Faster and faster we rolled along, rolling over peaks, through valleys like a car on a roller coaster. Look at those mountains. Wow. The mountains turned into hills. The hills turned into snow-covered plains. We crossed a barren desert of ice. The great polar ice cap. Lights appeared in the distance. They looked like the lights of a strange ocean liner sailing the frozen sea. "There," said the conductor, "it is the North Pole." Look at the beautiful bridges. The North Pole, it was a huge city standing alone at the top of the world, filled with factories where every Christmas toy was made. At first, we saw no elves. They were gathering at the city center, the conductor told us. That is where Santa will give the first gift of Christmas. "Who receives the first gift?" we all asked. The conductor answered, "He will choose you." The city is all very well lit. "Look," shouted one of the children, "the elves." Outside, he saw hundreds of elves. As our train drew closer to the center of the North Pole, we slowed to a crawl. So crowded were the streets with Santa's helpers. When the Polar Express could go no further, we stopped, and the conductor led us outside. There's so many people. Elves everywhere. We passed through the crowd to the edge of a large open circle. In front of us stood Santa's sleigh. The reindeer were excited. They pranced and paced, and they were ringing the silver sleigh bells that hung from their harnesses. It was a magic sound like nothing I'd ever heard. Across the circle, the elves moved apart, and Santa Claus appeared. The elves cheered wildly. He marched over to us and pointed to me and said, "Let's have this fella here." He jumped into his sleigh. The conductor, he handed me up, and I sat on Santa's knee, and he asked, "Now what would you like for Christmas?" I knew that I could have any gift I could imagine, but the thing I wanted most for Christmas was not inside Santa's giant bag. What I wanted more than anything was one silver bell from Santa's sleigh. When I asked, Santa smiled. He gave me a huge hug and told an elf to go cut the bell from the reindeer's harness. The elf tossed it up to Santa. He stood holding the bell high above him and called out, "The first gift of Christmas." The clock struck midnight as the elves roared their approval. Santa handed the bell to me, and I put it in my bathrobe pocket. The conductor, he helped me down from the sleigh, and Santa shouted out the reindeer's names, and he cracked his whip. His team charged forward and climbed into the air. Santa circled once more above us and then disappeared into the cold, dark polar sky. He's about to go on a very long night. As soon as we were back inside the Polar Express, the other children asked to see the bell. And I reached into my pocket, and the only thing I felt was a hole. I had lost the silver bell from Santa Claus's sleigh. "Let's hurry outside and look for it," one of the children said. But the train gave a sudden lurch, and we started moving. We were on our way home. Oh, man. You ever lost anything? What a bummer. Everyone's there to help him, though. That's so nice. It broke my heart to lose the bell, and when the train reached my house, I sadly left the other children. I stood at the doorway, and I waved goodbye. The conductor said something from the moving train, but I couldn't hear him. "What?" I yelled. He cupped his hands around his mouth and said, "Merry Christmas." The Polar Express let out a loud blast from its whistle, and it sped away. What an adventure. On Christmas morning, my little sister Sarah and I opened our presents. When it looked as if everything had been unwrapped, Sarah, she found one small last box behind the tree. Guess what? It had my name on it. Inside was the silver bell. There was a note. "Found this on the seat of my sleigh. Fix that hole in your pocket. Signed, Mr. C." I shook the bell. It made the most beautiful sound my sister and I had ever heard. But my mother said, "Oh, no, that's too bad." "Yes," my father said, "it's broken." When I'd shaken the bell, my parents could not hear a sound. The kids, they heard a sound. At one time, most of my friends could hear the bell, but as the years passed, it fell silent for all of them. Even Sarah found one Christmas that she could no longer hear its sweet sound, although I've grown old, the bell still rings for me as it does for all who truly believe. I hope y'all truly believe. It's a beautiful sound. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. Thanks for joining. See you soon.